Welcome to the Sharpe Way Show. It is 7 p.m. on the East Coast, so you have to look at my mug. Yes, this is Sharpe Way Stew tonight. So we're going to be a little bit funny, I hope, but we might not be, but that's the hope that we will. So do me a favor, please, like, comment, share. It does matter. I bug you every time because you guys don't like, comment, and share enough. And if you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. You know you're supposed to do that. That's what they all say. So just do what they say and acquiesce. It's important that you do that, please. And if you do want to help me out because you love what I'm doing, awesome. Heading over to patreon.com/Sharpeway and throw me some of those Biden bucks. They're coming your way soon. $1.9 bazillion or whatever they're throwing at us. So throw some of that cash my way so I can keep doing what I'm doing, build my team out, and make this an awesome place to be. And if you are someone who thinks that CBD is the right answer for you, please head over to grownselection.com. Make that purchase. Your creams, your powders, whatever you like. Sharpe Way 20 gets you 20% off. You can't beat that, but totally free. Theadvocates.org, the human respect test. The link is in the description. Click that, take that test, share it. That's 100% free. Absolutely 100% free. I am very lucky today. I have with me the one, the only activist, comedian, and now candidate for mayor of New York City, Stacey Prussman. How are you?
Great. How are you? Happy Friday, TGIF, I guess, for some people.
Absolutely. It's
just another effing fucking day for other people.
It is, yes. In fact, some days it's every day is the same day. Like, I only know that it's Friday because I put stew by next to Sharpe Way. Otherwise, I wouldn't know what day it is. I have no idea.
I had to wash my hair.
There we go. Yes.
Told me, like, I'm washing my hair to do Larry's show. I haven't washed it in a week and a half. He's like,
yes.
Okay.
I am very lucky. There isn't much to do with my hair. I'm very lucky on that.
You have to wash it.
Yeah, once in a while, like, every 6 months. Every 6 months or so, it's fine. So whatever, yes. But yeah, so you do have to wash it sometimes. But I'm glad that you said that because there is a bit of cabin fever, I think, that so many New Yorkers are feeling. So many Americans are feeling. I shouldn't say that, but we're talking specifically because we both live in New York. You and I are both some of the oddballs here. We're actually born in New York City.
Yeah,
and for most people who don't know New York City, about 1/3 of New York City residents aren't born in the country, and about another 1/3 actually aren't born in the city. So most people who live in New York City aren't born here.
No.
So we're the weirdos.
And we stayed here. We didn't leave.
That's correct. So many also leave.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, 100%. So I kind of want to ask a personal question here. You have moved from being a comedian, actor, and you've also been an activist, both mental health activist.
Mm-hmm.
So the mental health part is serious, obviously. The comedian is a business, right? Mm-hmm. And now you're running for mayor. It's got to be a massive change up here, or no?
There are things that are different, and there are things that are very similar. As a speaker, it's very similar. I spoke on mental health, wellness, specifically eating disorders,
mm-hmm.
stress.
What we're dealing with right now.
Exactly what we're dealing with right now. When I was speaking, I was going to colleges and speaking about things where the students were overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
Now I think people might be underwhelmed, which is also just as bad. So actually, I spoke to a new agency to do a lecture on that as well as I'm running for mayor. So I might be doing a second lecture on being stressed when you have nothing to do, which is something that I've been speaking about. Boredom, overeating is very big. Now people are gaining a lot of weight, other health issues.
Yeah, but you just brought up something that people don't think about. Not just being overwhelmed, but being underwhelmed, right? That the boredom, drawing people into self-destructive behavior, feeling like they have no purpose or why bother. So it's not just overwhelmed. You're right. It's underwhelmed.
Right. Very underwhelmed. People don't know what the next steps are in their lives. They don't know if their businesses are going to open up, their industries are going to open up. They don't know what is going to happen with anything. So people are like, I have friends, it's not just New York. My friends in Los Angeles feel the same way. I have people that are dancers, singers, and actors on Broadway. That is closed. And that's, so they're people, they're Broadway actresses looking for housekeeping jobs right now.
Yes.
So
it's funny you say that because I'm a lot of people think that culture jobs like that, right? Jobs in the arts, dancers, actors, comedians. So many people think those are trivial jobs, right? Those are like the trivial jobs. But those are the jobs that actually provide human value to us when we're this stressed. If you like dance, you want to go watch people dance, or you want to go dance, or you want to watch a concert, or you want to go laugh, or you want to be with your friends, and you want to kind of get that stress out. That deals with both the overwhelming and the underwhelming, right?
Yes. I mean, I, as a performer, I feel that I miss that. Luckily, I do have a platform doing speaking as running as a candidate for mayor. I have that outlet a little bit. I mean, I could be funny, but I have to watch my humor. I have a kind of a dark sense of humor. For people that know me, I have an extremely dark sense of humor. So I don't want it to be misconstrued as being insensitive, which I'm sure I have things that are insensitive that I've said, but not to be me, but I've been insensitive, as a comedian, which is very different.
But don't you feel that kind of Trump has kind of changed that a little bit, maybe? I mean, made it that you could be a little bit more abrasive than you could have been, say, 5 or 6 years ago. I mean, obviously you don't want to be mean, to your point. I get that.
No.
But isn't it open? Jonathan has a joke he wants to show. Sure. Staying at home has caused me to brush my butt and wash my teeth.
That's funny. It's true.
There we go. See, look, at least the one advantage is you're going to have a clean butt, Jonathan. So that's a good thing, right? Clean butt's good. So
good.
But yeah,
I'm glad you're watching your butt.
There's a part of me though that I think we want. Isn't there a part of us who wants you to be that person so we can feel free? Isn't there a part of us that goes, go ahead, Stacey, say the thing that we can't say. Do the thing that we wish we could get on stage and do. Isn't there a part of us that wants that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I just haven't had the chance to be as abrasive as I want. But I'm not like a Trump type humor. I could be abrasive. I could make jokes of things to diffuse. As a child, this is a true thing. I used humor to diffuse pain a lot.
Sure.
So.
Sure.
And when I did my lecture about eating disorders, which was extremely serious, I used a lot of humor, and it actually helped drive the point across for people that it was too much for them to hear. So humor is really, we're in very dark times now, and humor is the only thing that probably will get us through this.
It's funny you say that. Me being a veteran, veterans make horribly dark humor out of terrible, horrible things. And combat vets are some of the most horrible, vulgar people there are, and they do that. They make those jokes exactly to get past what they've seen, what they've been through, or often the fear of death or the fear of being hurt. And they kind of joke their way through it. I mean, the darkest, I can't say them, but we used to make jokes about bombing people. We used to make jokes about napalming people, right? I mean, that was a joke that we did.
You have a good bombing joke?
I'm not going to give it now. It's totally inappropriate now. But anyway, but the point is we would joke and laugh about those types of things. We'd laugh and joke about us being shot and losing limbs. We jokes about that. And what I've always talked about is intent matters tremendously to me.
100%. I agree.
Tremendously, right?
I think everything, intent is everything. First of all, we live in a cancel culture.
Yes.
So if you say the wrong thing, everyone's going to cancel you.
Yep.
Now, there are people that say horrible, awful things and have a horrible intent while they're saying it. And then there's comedians who are like a little off color, but they're good people.
But I want to step on that because cancel culture where it is now actually punishes the wrong people. It's unfair.
Absolutely. It's like a mob.
Yes. If I'm Dave Chappelle and I'm ultra powerful, I can say anything I want, insult anybody, and I'm never canceled because I'm super popular. So who cares? So the elites of that field, now obviously he's an elite when it comes to comedy, right? So the elite of any field just do and say what they want and get no punishment at all. In fact, if anything, they get, oh, amazing, right? And then the person who's actually trying to hurt someone, the one who's really trying to hurt, they literally get put to they become a cult figure. Yeah,
it's a hard situation. I mean, also there are big comics that have gotten not canceled, but asked to be canceled. But money has a lot of power. Think about it. Money is all power. Is all powerful in certain ways, and I don't personally believe that, but you see it. And Dave Chappelle, there are always mobs of people that will try to cancel somebody, but then there are mobs of people that are going to support them. So,
Right.
but you need the mobs of people that are going to support you in order to get away with saying what you want.
Absolutely.
That's the difference.
Shelley says, can't play Scrabble with my friends. Sounds silly, but my Scrabble games and writing groups are what I miss most.
Oh.
That's not silly at all. Am I wrong with that, Stacey?
No, not at all. These are things like I missed sitting with my friends and having coffee at Dunkin' Donuts.
Yes.
In the Dunkin' Donuts, not outside on the street, which I had a horrible experience the other day. Sitting out coffee outside in the freezing cold.
Yes. I have friends that sometimes I only see a couple times a year. And the couple times we do it are get-togethers, right? One of them is we usually have some kind of board game we play once a year. All the guys get together and play.
Fun.
But we can't do it now, right? Another one is, believe it or not, a Halloween party. We didn't have it.
Yeah, I had a great.
We didn't have it. Yeah, we get to dress up and look stupid and put stuff on and hang out with our friends, and we don't do that now. I agree. It hurts us so much.
It's a small thing, Shelley. It's like the small things that we miss.
Yes,
it's the small things that we've taken for granted. I think I'm going to look at this in a positive manner when things open up, or we're allowed to go out, or it's more safe to go out, whatever, you choose to do, because some people are going out and they're fine with it. Some people aren't. I think when we're done with this whole mess of a pandemic, I think we're going to really appreciate each other a lot more.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a lot different.
Tom says, routine helps me with all the stress. Glass of bourbon and Sharpe Way every night. That is the right answer, Tom. Everybody should be doing that. Be like Tom. Yes, absolutely. So let me go down. We're kind of on that PC road. Clearly, people are bringing up your gender, right? Your sex. They're saying, you're a woman, and a woman, is running for mayor, and it's a piece that you put this on your website. Let me show this if I can share this real fast. Hold on. This is my screen. It shows right here. Here. The 9 women in the New York City mayoral race who are looking to make history in 2021. And that's you. You're in it, right? You're in it.
I'm in it.
I love that. Has that been an issue? Right? Or how do you feel about that? In other words, I guess there's 2 parts. And I look at this, are you saying, hey, I'm a woman, awesome? Are you like, I don't care? Are you like, oh, it's a good thing? How do you handle that in the PC culture? Should you be all about it? Not?
I'm a comedian first, and that was a big deal to be a woman in the comic. Now, not so much. But when I started 20 years ago, it was like there were comedians that were female, but it was a big deal.
Right.
Not a big deal, but it was always mentioned. You're a woman. Are you funny? You're not funny. That Bonnie McFarlane did "Women Aren't Funny" as a documentary about how women really are funny. But shout out to Bonnie McFarlane, and so I'm used to that in my field. And being an actor as well. I didn't think about that until I saw the article. I'm thinking of myself as writing great policy and having an awesome team and making the city amazing and bringing it back, waking it the fuck up. So I'm looking at it as my not as my gender, but as my goals to what I want to do for the city.
Right. Well, look,
if I'm making history, great.
That's what I'm not against the thing of you making history. I mean, that'd be amazing. I'm with you 100%. Yes, it's a great
angle for an article. It got me pressed, so I'm happy. Thank you.
Absolutely. So Doug says, "Press for us." Aw,
I love that. I love that.
He's even got a Prussman 21 a thing on his avatar. Nice. Alan says, "I miss getting a shave and a haircut." Man, I'm with you.
Oh, you don't go to your barber? I get my hair done all the time with my mask on. The
problem I have, and it's going to sound crazy, is now because of the way he has to do it, it takes forever. It takes. I used to be able to walk in, buzz. My haircut doesn't take long. You can look, right? It's not right. So literally, I could walk in and I'm out within 10 minutes. I mean, that's that fast, in, out. Now it's an hour.
Oh wow!
And I just. I'm like, because we got to wait outside now, and then there's plastic in between the thing and freezing cold. And so now I'm like,
it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. Yeah.
It's a thing now, right? And it wasn't for my hair. It shouldn't be a thing.
Right.
It's just walk, buzz. We're good, and that's what it used to be. Right now, it's so now I wind up, yelling at my wife, "Wow, give me a haircut!" She gives me a quick haircut. So that's what it's
That
become.
explained it. I'm kidding.
Yes, that's why it's so
With
terrible.
anger,
Yes.
I can tell.
Yes,
Frustration.
but no, I agree completely. Someone else agrees with you. I miss having coffee at Dunkin' Donuts too with my friends. Absolutely, it is a thing. Yes, absolutely. Isn't Marines playing board games, a table, K-bar, and a guy named Nubby to call 911? Yes, however, most of my friends are not Marines. So, yes, my Marine friends are all over the country, but my friends here in New York, they're not. So it's like, Risk or something. It's like that. It's nothing as cool as you would think, Jonathan. I'm sorry.
That's funny. So, I miss traveling. I'm a big I was on the road. I was on the road right before the pandemic. I was like a week before everything shut down. I was in LA. I was traveling. I was going to Philadelphia to do shows and to visit friends. And then all of a sudden everything closed. I was looking at my, you get those memories on Facebook. I'm like, oh, I was there. I was here. That I miss. I do miss traveling, getting out of the city for a week to go to Florida, on a good airline discount. I miss that. And doing a show. Yeah.
I want to add one more piece here. And this is another article that you're into, which I'm very happy you're getting press. Awesome. But the list of people running, it's insane of all the people who are running, right?
Oh my God.
All these people who are running. There's so many of them. I'm very happy you're on that list, but it's still going. I mean, look at it go down. It keeps going.
You know what? It actually excites me, Larry, because it makes me feel that people really want to bring it. It shows me the love for the city.
I like the way you think. That is so good.
I did my first debate, I think a couple of weeks ago, and I'm doing another one. I'm doing a few of them over the next. There's these forums that they have for mayoral candidates, and we talk about certain subjects. And I got to debate my own Brooklyn Borough president, or talk, just discuss. And we were like 90% of us, we were all on the same page in so many different ways. Like it wasn't like we were fighting each other. We all want the same things.
Yeah,
it was really interesting.
This is a picture of here.
Republicans, it was all these different wonderful candidates, and everyone wants a better education. It was based on education. That specific.
That one was. Mm-hmm. That one was. But I know education is a big deal for you. You are very proud of your high school. You talk about it all the time. You love it. I know. So education is a really big deal for you. You're not about the way the system is now. You're about making it better and having people to be you want kids to be in a way kind of more entrepreneurial, more creative. You're trying to prep them, if I understand you right. You're trying to kind of prep them for the post-industrial economy, for what's new that's coming.
Well, I think the most important thing about education is that you need to learn how to think. You can learn math, arithmetic, social studies, all these things that are great to learn, even a trade. But if you don't know how to think for yourself and make decisions and become an independent person, all that goes out the window.
Yeah, good point. Very good point.
So it's one of my main facets in my education policies and stuff like that. So
I get it.
I want to democratize education, decolonize it, essentially.
I like that. Well, you have a fan. Michael says, she's cute and smart. Look, you're winning.
Oh, thank you.
There we go. You're winning.
I like your hair, Michael, so thank you.
See, that the washing the hair worked. Michael noticed. Absolutely. Very nice. Jimmy says, I've taken this time to be productive at home. Got 2 acres of land cleared and plenty of firewood. I also got help on the campaign trail also. Oh, nice.
Awesome.
That is great.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. I appreciate it. And your house sounds great.
Yes, I guess we're all coming over. I love it. So, no, I think that's a good point, right? What people haven't talked about, and this is why I like your mental health advocacy background. Because if you look at what people are talking about, the governor and the mayor, they're not actually talking about this.
No, not
They're
at all.
only talking about physical health only. And in fact, not even only physical health, really only COVID health. They're not even talking about working out, staying in shape, not even that. Forget mental health. It's just physical.
There's so many people with other conditions. My mom's best friend is having trouble getting to the hospital. She had a cancer diagnosis, and it's ridiculous that everything's taking so long, and it's very serious. And all these people with very similar situations aren't getting the help they needed. in the hospitals and stuff because everything's
Yes.
COVID. How about all the people that are dying of heart disease, cancer, strokes? I can name, every disease in the book, but there are other diseases but COVID that
Right.
need to be treated.
Right. And then now you probably should have had your checkup or your cancer screening or your whatever you should have had, and now you're not having it.
They're like, don't worry. My mom missed her doctor's appointment.
Yes.
She's like,
So
I
now
don't
all of a
want to go
sudden,
in. The numbers are up. I'm like, Mom, you got to go to the doctor.
yes. And then all of a sudden now it's 6 months or a year later, and now they find it. Well, they should have found it 6 months ago or a year ago, and now it might be too late for somebody.
Yes. It's tragic.
I mean, yes.
And the
Now,
mental health,
yes.
back to mental health, Larry, I was saying people, specifically people, a lot of people are going to come out of this with PTSD. I said this on the debate, and I'm saying it again. There's going to be a very odd PTSD, either people who are afraid to go outside, people are going to be wearing masks forever, because people have, their minds go a little.
Explain that afraid to go outside thing.
All right.
What do you mean by that?
I have a few friends, I don't know if you do, that they've been isolated, they've been comfortable, they figured it out, they weren't exactly extroverts maybe anyway, and now they were maybe even fearful of people, not fearful, that's maybe a harsh word, but they didn't like to be around a lot of people. And now they have these, this 8, 9, 10, almost a year of being quarantined, and they kind of are adjusted to it, and they like it, but it's not exactly healthy for them. Because they're the type of people that have to be pushed to go out.
Right.
How about agoraphobia? Did I say that right? Agoraphobia, right? I always say like the sweater. But agoraphobia, that's going to be, I think people are going to be germophobic. People that have that, a lot of germophobes are going to be, it's going to be exacerbated. OCD is going to be exacerbated.
Right.
Because
now
we're like, it's sick. I would, and I'm pushing myself. Like I have my own issues because I lived through 9/11 and I had panic disorder right after 9/11. But not right after, not the day after, 2 years later it started. And it was 9/11, watching the towers fall, living in the city, losing a friend. It was very traumatic that one day. Now just imagine being traumatized for 8, 9 months, maybe a year, whatever, how long it's been. I stopped counting. So I know people are going to come out of this with a lot of addiction, a lot of fear, trauma, and we need to be prepared for that, specifically the younger people.
Yes, I worry about my daughters, right? My daughters are 16 and 10. And my 16-year-old, she's not out playing with her friends as she should. She's not trying to be a young woman like you do when you're 16, right? Meeting young women, meeting young men, trying to figure out where you fit in the world. That's what teenagers do. Dating. She's not doing any of that stuff, right? And I'm not the father who doesn't want his daughter to date. I want my daughter to have healthy relationships with whoever she's going to have a relationship with.
They're going to be stunted for they're going to be stunted for, how about now?
Yes.
Think about the child that you put a mask on them for they're 4 and 5, 6 years old. They're going to think that that's how they have that's embedded now into their lives, and they're going to their whole lives. Every time they're going to be it's going to definitely affect them somehow. And
absolutely.
At probably in their forever. I mean, I'm not a psychologist, but I can tell you when I speak to my own therapist, and I'm sharing this honestly with you guys, that it's going to be a problem.
Yes. My 10-year-old daughter, she's not out in the playground. When I was 10, I was in the playground. I think most of us, when we were 10, we were running around the playground doing dumb stuff with our friends, right? Chasing each other around, whatever was the cool game of the day.
Fun. We used to have it making out of the parties, and stuff like that, dating and, and stuff like that, and nothing crazy, but just being around your friends and doing crazy stuff and having a good time. I'm sure some kids are, but probably most aren't. College. Yeah. You're missing those years, missing your prom, missing your Sweet 16, your college years, doing things like the sorority stuff I did, and shout out to Phi Sigma Sigma, but things like that, doing fun stuff, going to these great parties and really learning about life.
No, I agree 100%. So Tony says Marines play D&D. Yes. My brother Tony V, we actually used to play D&D in the Marine Corps. He's a Marine Corps buddy of mine. That's actually true.
Cool.
That's actually true.
Marines are really smart guys. They can be geeky too.
That's great. So Tim brings up the elephant in the room. Andrew Yang. I mean, Andrew Yang is promising monthly checks. Tough to beat that, right? When he's promising cash.
Look, I get we need assistance in this economy. Promising was he? We've been looking at the budget in my campaign like crazy. Is he not? Is he going to take it out of his wallet? I don't understand.
That would be awesome.
I mean, if he wants to take it out of his wallet, go ahead. Give everyone a monthly check.
I do, and he doesn't have to win mayor for that. He could just do it.
Just do it now, Andrew.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. So, all right, let me see if I can grab a couple of these that I think might be interesting here. Yeah, make sure you tell people you're against COVID arm barcoding.
I'm definitely against that.
Yes.
Oh my God, my mother will not get the vaccine. She is
really.
She will. She's like, I'm waiting a year. I will not get the vaccine. I'm like, oh. And then my friend was like, make her get it. I'm like, I'm not making her get it. She doesn't want to do it. I'm not pushing her.
Gotcha. Yes. Matt brings up identity politics shouldn't be a thing. It is, but it shouldn't be in a perfect world.
Telling me that I never really thought about it. I just think of myself as a person. I really do.
Yes.
I don't think of myself as identity. I don't identify in any. Does that make sense? Like I know I'm a woman. I identify as a woman. I grew up Jewish. I'm not necessarily religious, so I don't really identify. It's a thing.
Yes, it is. Shelley says, my daughter and son-in-law were on their honeymoon when the lockdown started. Oh, yes. Imagine spending the first year of marriage locked in a house together. I think it speaks volumes about their character and their future. Yeah. Well, let's hope they still have that warm, fuzzy feeling after a year. Let's hope so, Shelley. Let's hope so.
That's a blessing in disguise for some couples. But.
It might be. Yeah, because see, look at you, always looking on the bright side.
I'm always trying to bright that. I wish if you get along with somebody and they're your person, and yeah, it's annoying after a while, but I would totally like to be locked away with the guy of my dreams. Anyway.
Gotcha.
If he's out there.
Let's see here. See if I can grab a couple of these. I miss concerts. I still have half a dozen concert tickets from last summer.
Every year,
everything from Rolling Stones to Foghat. Wow.
Oh, awesome! You're a big music fan, Ken.
I like that.
I go to Tori Amos every year, or whatever, almost every year. And obviously, this year I didn't go. She didn't have a concert, so I didn't go.
Well, the thing you brought up, and you bring up culture, right? Mm-hmm. That's a big part of what you're about. And I agree. I think a lot of finance and business that's left New York City, a lot of it's not going to come back. A lot of it's gone for good. It just isn't going to come back. I know these are the people I deal with. They're not coming back. So a lot aren't. Some are. A lot aren't going to come back. You've said, and I believe this is such a great idea you've talked about, the idea of New York City after this having a renaissance in a different way, a cultural renaissance, not a business renaissance, but
we're going to have a total cultural renaissance. The artists are going to come back. The small theater is going to come back. The comedy clubs, the musical venues. It's going to be like speakeasy type feel. I think smaller venues with great artists it's going to be like a renaissance, because Broadway is going to take a long time to come back between the chorus and the rehearsals and getting that whole thing together. And that's a whole nother story. But not that I'm against Broadway. It's great. It brings our city a lot of money, and some of the shows are amazing. But I think the small artists with the great voices are going to be heard. And I think I'm really excited about that. The musicians that didn't get the record deal, you're going to see them play. And the comic that didn't get the special, you're going to watch them perform. And I think that there's going to be space for that. A lot of these businesses are leaving the real estate. They're going to leave that real estate open, and New York's going to become a place of culture.
That's a brilliant, I hadn't even thought of that. All that open space now that used to be all the office space, now they clear it out, and that's a hall. That's a meeting hall. That's a comedy club. That's a music. It's whatever. I get it. It's wow. That's not a bad idea. I like that. That's a theater. It's whatever it could be.
A theater. A poetry reading. Anything. Like I grew up on that. Like it's going to be Bohemia again. It's going to be, and I think the rents will go down. They are going down, obviously.
No choice.
They'll stay that way for a while for people to come back. And the artists will be able to thrive again, like it did in the 70s and 60s. And
I love that idea.
Voices. And I hope that's what happens. That's my wish for the city. I think it's going to bring the city to a place of I think it'll heal us. And such art heals. The painter needs its loft, to go to an art show. I've been so inspired in my life going to art shows, watching others performing myself, and watching my friends take their shows and putting them up in a small theater. Right. I miss that a lot. And I think we're going to see a lot of that. I think that's what's going to happen next, because that's what we're ready for.
Tony says, should companies do more for education when it's skilled labor they're screaming for?
Ooh.
What investment do they make or should they make? Do you have a feeling? I mean, we're always talking about, investment in education, right? And de Blasio has this bazillion-dollar thing he wants to put into basically control what our kids think and completely program them.
No.
Where's your head on this?
I think there's a lot of politicians make these promises. They want to put money. I'm going to put millions and billions of dollars in this program, and people are going to, and then nothing happens, or it happens half-ass. I think that if the private sector comes in and says, we need people to learn, this is what's needed. Let's teach our children, if they want, this is an option. We'll teach them this specific computer type program or this particular trade. Not that they won't learn their regular education, but they'll learn everything. And the private sector could come in and help the public sector of education, I believe.
So are you saying that you would like the companies to physically show up, meaning to send some of the experts? And I only say this because when I was in Japan, I was actually part of an organization. I was an English coordinator for an organization that the Japanese government ran. The Japanese government ran an organization that allowed people from undeveloped countries to come to Japan and learn skills. And Japanese companies would literally send those people who do the job to this place to teach. And then the Japanese government would pay the salary of those people back to the company. So the company could hire someone to replace them while the person was teaching.
Well, it's funny you do that. Not to bring my high school back, but they had something called the Academy of Finance, where a lot of students went into the Wall Street. They invested their money. One of the students invested a bunch of money and made money back. They learned how to do that there was a thing. One guy actually had an internship at a law firm. I do all these different Academy of Law. They have all these academies where you can go into the private sector and work for the day, particularly seniors. And it worked. It worked. I used to go to the Board of Elections, not the Board of Elections, the Women's League of Voters, Women Voters, and I would actually go help. I was an interim between my high school and them to help register, the 18-year-olds and stuff. So
nice.
Yeah.
Yes, Deborah says, unindoctrinate the groupthink mentality.
Definitely, it's ridiculous. We need to have, we need to really come back and have people think independently, and for themselves.
Right.
That could happen.
Right. Brian says, I've been waiting almost a year to get my hernia repaired.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good.
Try to get it done, Brian, if you can.
Absolutely. So John has a serious question here. We've been doing a little bit of nice fun stuff, but I think it's a serious question. He says, Larry, I'm grateful for what you do. Would she discuss her plans for policing the city? Is it a radical change or an outside of the box plan? Thanks, John.
Wow, that's a serious question, John.
It is. This is usually Stu. We don't have that much seriousness, but are you okay walking down this road or no?
Sure. Yes. Thank you for that question. Well, we've been talking to a lot of officers and people, and I think, and when I've been speaking to officers, a lot of officers are doing too many jobs.
Yeah.
They're doing their social worker. So I want to bring a lot of mental health professionals into the system. I think there are times and place for very severe police action, and then there's time and place for mental health advocate with one police officer. And I think that police to diffuse things. We need to diffuse things before they get escalated. There's violent crime. We need to stop that. I want to be tough on violent crime. We see that everywhere. We need to get that out of the city. That doesn't belong here. We need immense amounts of drug rehabilitation. There's drug addicts suffering right now on the streets of New York. We've normalized homelessness. I want to specifically have a very, very strong task force for homelessness, especially long-term homelessness. I don't mean someone who's living on a couch and they fell off the wagon and they have to go back. I mean, long-term homelessness needs help. We've normalized that. We should not see an 80-year-old man living on the subway for 10 years.
Right. But so what you're saying, if I get it, you're saying that you want to kind of have police focus on the violent crimes. Did I read you right? That's what you're saying? Well, we have to focus on the violent crimes?
Yes, I think we should take some of the responsibility off officers and bring it to a different level. Like a second degree officer maybe an officer trained, a psychologist that's trained as an officer, like kind of, real psychologist or a therapist that's trained as an officer to deal with like domestic violence. Like similar to how they diffuse a hostage situation or something.
Sure, I think it's a valid point, right? When there's a hostage situation, you don't want a cop who just comes off of a car accident or just comes off of a robbery to have to now negotiate with some hostage, guy holding a hostage.
Right.
His head's not there, right? His head is place completely clear. You want a new person coming in whose head is clear to now deal with that situation, and that's where you're going. Am I right or no?
Right, exactly. So I want to divide the police force more than it already is. So anyway, transit, I have to divide it up more. Also, train, protect the officer as well as the people. I'm going to take every step to both protect the citizen and the officer.
Mm-hmm.
So none of this police brutality, all this over policing, it has to stop. I want to legalize marijuana and some psychedelics. We're going to start with that. And then I also want to decriminalize sex work to protect the sex worker and not keep, it doesn't help. It's not helping. If there's a drug addiction with the sex worker, they'll get, I want to get them the help and have resources for that as well. If that's what's bringing them to sex work.
And if somebody else wants to find some more information, you can head over to PrussmanForMayor.com.
I hope that answers John's question. There's a lot to it.
Yes.
A lot of out of the box. We have to stop policing where it's, and I want to get rid of a lot of traffic cams too. I want to take a lot of it away because I believe that they're unfair because they're not always accurate, and I don't think they're stopping speeding as much as they are. So we need
It's a money grab.
It's a money grab, and I don't think that it's fair. And a lot of times you can't fight a camera. So people just pay the $30, $50 and then be like, oh, whatever. So right. And a lot of people have talked to me about that. And I think it's something that we need to find a different way we're going to add speed bumps instead in certain ways. I know people hate
speed bumps are better if you actually care about. I don't like it trashing my car, but I'm just being forward.
Speed.
You won't speed. That's true. Yes.
Because the idea is not to charge money. The idea is to stop people from speeding.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt says, my son's school harps on COVID for everything. School newspaper is all COVID articles. Every paper they write is how has COVID affected you. Every discussion seems to revolve around that. He is 11, and they are driving him to be obsessed about the disease. That's my worry. Yes.
Yeah, that's going to create. What's going to happen in 5 years from now? You think he's going to forget that? No. I remember the 1 year of AIDS class we had. I was afraid of penises.
Yes.
I'll be honest. I was afraid of penises.
No, I'm with you. I remember I was a youngster. I was, 20 years old. I was stationed back here as a young Marine. And I pick up a girl from, I pick up a girl who's a checkout girl at a place I'm buying my groceries, whatever I was doing, right? So I pick up this girl. She's right out of high school, right? I'm 20. She's 18. I literally graduated like last week, that kind of thing. So we go on a date and she's like, well, I can't kiss you. I can't touch you. I said, why? She goes, well, I might get AIDS. She literally told me that.
Yeah, it was like that.
Wow.
Those years were very scary.
Yes, they were very scary. She was like, I can't get near you. I can't do it because I might get AIDS. Like, wow. I agree. She was out of high school now, only a couple weeks out, but she was still not in high school anymore. She was an adult and she was.
It took years to undo those fears. And that was like not even that long of it was a scare, but they got the knowledge and the medical knowledge sort of, I think they sort of figured it out a little bit more.
Yes, absolutely.
Now they have the right drugs and stuff, but yeah, it was very scary back then. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
Missy says, I would have been heartbroken without my proms.
Aww.
I still look at prom dresses and I'm old AF.
Me too. I just posted a picture of my prom. My best friend is on my Facebook. I have to post it. Yeah. Things like that, the little things that we loved, that were fun. Like we sit outside in my high school and like play guitar and sing. And I was in a rock band and I loved going to practice and doing plays. I love live theater. That's one thing I miss really badly.
So we're gonna have a mayor who was in a rock band, who was a comedian. That's kind of cool.
A mental health advocate. Yeah. I've been and people are like, are you going to do this? You can do this. I don't want to make promises to people I want to try to, I believe to do things in steps in
Mhm.
terms of governing. I don't want to shock anyone's system, so I want to take everything when you govern and when you create policy, you start to do things in steps, especially
Mhm.
when there's change, so
Sure.
people aren't in shock,
Right.
even if
Right.
it's a good thing.
You
So,
want to show them respect.
right. I want everyone to take, everything in steps. Let's do this first, then we'll do this. And then, I don't want to be like, oh, so everything changes and everything's going to be crazy. You
Right.
don't want that creates chaos. And I don't want to govern with chaos.
Well, you just gave me the excuse to run a commercial about respect. Larry Sharpe here, host of the Sharpe Way Show, and boy, do we need to start coming together and healing now more than ever. Best way to do that? Respect. We got to respect each other so we can start to come together. How can we facilitate that? Head over to theadvocates.org/human respect tests. Yes, there's a test for human respect. You didn't think there was? There is. Take that test. About 3 minutes. That's it. It's done. Share it online. Share it on your social media. Let other people see it. Let them take the test. Share it with others. Let's start talking about respect. Let's start talking about healing. Let's find the right answer for us to move forward. Theadvocates.org human respect tests. Indeed. That was a good idea. That guy's right. So yes, absolutely. So yes.
Respect. Let have your respect. R-E-S-P-C.
But you were just talking about this. Ed says you're not a resident there. He's not a resident there, but I truly like what you're trying to accomplish. I was born there. I still have some family there. Look at that.
Oh, great.
So
thank you.
If you look at that, what he says, what do you think could be, one idea that sticks that people go, that's it. That's the one. She's right. Do you think there's one thing right now? Can you tell? I know you've been out, you've been getting press, you've been doing debates, you've been doing some events. Is there something that you can tell already that's like, yeah, people really like that? Or is it not clear yet?
I think that people like the idea of self-governing and self-responsibility as one of my platforms. And we want to democratize a lot of stuff, like from education is one. I don't want to be the czar, the mayor czar. I tell you, I want to get the old crony system out. I think it's not working. A lot of money is lost in the city. And I want to really make sure that I want to be very transparent as well. That's one of the good, the bad, the ugly. I want to be as transparent as possible. I'm not a logo, even though I have some good slogans, I got to admit. I'm not a big, I don't want to run on slogans.
Slogans are cool, though. People like slogans.
No, I love slogans. Like, wake the fuck up. Yeah, wake the F up, sorry. Wake the F up, New York. I love slogans, but I mean, really, like, I want to say people don't need to hear slogans right now. They need to hear real policy and real specific. And God bless my campaign manager and my policy team. We're writing such amazing policies, well thought out, bipartisan too. We have all different types of people on my policy team, which I'm really excited about. Really thought out policy, researched, and that's what I'm proud of the most.
Okay.
So if someone wants a person that's really running on solid policy, if you agree with it or not, but look at my campaign and look at my policy. Don't look at my gender. Don't look at my nationality. Look at my policy and my leadership abilities, and that's what I want.
I like that. Shelley says, I think being politically correct will no longer be a thing. People aren't going to remain that shallow when they're thinking. So I think Shelley thinks it's going away, and I think I agree with her. I think people are starting the cancel culture. I think that there is some pushback on this. I don't know how far and how long. I don't know how deep that is. But I feel a little bit of people saying, we may have gone too far. I don't know. What do you think Shelley's right or no?
Absolutely. Let me tell you something about comedy. I've been doing stand-up for 20 years with the most diverse amount of people, all different types of people, religions and races and sex and gender. Every type of person has been on shows with me. And sometimes, and there's things called roasts. We used to roast each other. And when there's something about, their stereotypes are there for a reason. Some are true, some aren't, and it's okay to sort of joke about them if you're not being cruel.
Right.
I think
right.
You're not being cruel, then it's fine. It brings us close together. education. It educates you about other people's culture. Like I didn't know a lot. I used to watch Jamaican comics. They talked about certain foods they ate, and I didn't really know those foods. You know what I'm saying? So, and I didn't know certain cultures eat spicy foods. I didn't know I'm like, oh, well, we have that in my culture, and I saw the similarities. So sometimes jokes, as long as they're not mean jokes, they could be great ways to bring people together. Comedy brings people together. It does. And
the environment to me, the environment to me is crucial in how we deal with that. Like my wife and I sometimes do some horrible jokes with each other, right? But we love each other and we know it's all in good fun and we laugh and we joke and it's fun. We're all like, we can't say this outside the house. So we do jokes like that all the time because we feel close. I'm with you. I completely agree. So, Stacey, if I was living in New York, I would campaign and vote for you as well. Yay!
Thank you so much.
You're winning. I love it. There we go. Jimmy says, Larry and Stacey, do either of you think we will need a vaccination card to go to concerts and large gatherings like sporting events? Wow.
I don't know.
I could see that.
The governor might demand it.
Yes, I could see that. The problem that I have with that is, in theory, am I against an organization saying you can't come in unless you've done a certain thing? In theory, and this is theory versus practice, in theory, I'm not against it in theory. But the problem is in practice it's going to be a disaster. Does that then mean that government decides what it is, who has it, how do you have it?
We don't even know the vaccines, the effectiveness of them, actually, in theory, right? In practice, we don't even know how effective these vaccines are. They're 95% effective. We don't know if they take on everybody. So that's going to be an issue, medically speaking. So forget about that. I don't know when I want to get vaccinated, personally. People said, do you want to get? I'm like, I'm not sure how I'll react to it. To be honest with you, I'm not anti-pro vaccine. It's a new vaccine. I'm not against a new vaccine, but I'm not comfortable putting things in my body, personally. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not. So, because I just don't, I'm freaked out with the flu vaccine, by the way. Like I hate the, so, because I've gotten sick from the flu vaccine. So I'm worried. So I hope not. I hope that we have our freedoms aren't taken away that way, where we can't go.
I do think we could, though. I think your fear, Jimmy, is a valid fear. I do. I think it's a valid fear.
I'm fearful of that. Actually.
Yes. I, on a personal note, again, in theory, am I against it? No. In practice, I think I would be against it because I can't see a way of enforcing it without crushing our rights. If there was a way to enforce it without obviously attacking our rights, I wouldn't be against it in theory, but I can't see how in practice that works. But
people could do fake, cards and things like that. I mean, there's, it's going to be creepy. I mean, I think it's a wait and see. Yep. I wouldn't govern that way personally.
Yep.
That's just not how I am. But I know schools, you can't go to school without vaccine. So I don't like that it's a new vaccine. That's the thing that makes it, and it was rushed. I think there's going to be personally, my instinct is that there's going to be a better vaccine in a couple of months. That's just my instinct.
Deb, I think she's talking about school. She says it's not about more funding. It's about better allocation of the current funds.
Absolutely, Deborah.
100% true.
Or like when you go down through the books, we're like, whoa, this is money's wasted.
Horrible.
Where did this money go? It's horrible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally
I totally
true.
Agree.
100%. It is terribly wasted. Absolutely. Yes, and yes. So that's terrible.
It's so frustrating. And you know what's so hard is that I'm not mayor yet, and I see this, and I'm like, oh, I'm like, no, put the
yes.
It makes me so frustrated.
Yes. And Matt, of course, says cue black market vaccine cards. 100% yes.
And that's going to be bad too. So then people are going to lie, and then I mean, I can see there being masks and concerts that I see. That.
Well, Steven's on you. He's with you. He goes, that's how I feel. I'm not touching that S. But go ahead, have fun. Yeah, absolutely. So Paula asks, are you participating in any debates? You already did one, and you're scheduled for more, aren't you?
Yeah, there's a few of them. There's one. The People's First Democratic Club had a wonderful debate. They did a great job. They had every candidate that wanted to participate, no matter what party you are. And that was really wonderful. I love that. And I really enjoyed that debate. And there's another one they're doing on another subject, and then there's some environmental debates, and I'll be on. They're on Zoom, and you can get the login to watch them. So I'll post them if you follow my page. I'll post them as they come.
I love that because you don't care if it's a Democratic run debate or Republican run debate. You'll show up either way.
Also, I wanted to go to a debate, and they didn't ask me, and it was about homelessness, and they didn't ask me to do it. And I have a lot of feelings on homeless. I was never homeless myself, but I've been homeless insecure, home insecure, as they call it.
Yep.
So I understand that feeling as being an actor. My ex-husband and I had some issues trying, we had a bad year, and I've been through that as a younger person. So I understand what it's like to be, insecure of where you're going to live. I mean,
I love that. I cannot tell you. You never told me that, Stacey. I love that so much. What I fear so much is that so many of the people who are our leaders, they act like they came from nothing or they're so poor, and most of them are not. Most of them are highly trained lawyers who had enough money to go through good schools. That's the majority of the people who are in leadership now. They don't come from poor places. They don't know what it's like to struggle. Most of them have no idea what it's like to struggle. So the fact that you can tell me honestly and tell everybody here that you had to struggle in your life, maybe you'll understand better.
Even as a well-known actor, I had to struggle. That's very hard when you're well-known as a performer, and people think you have a lot of money, and you don't. And not for and there are a lot of jobs I got underpaid for. Both day jobs and acting jobs in my life that I should have been paid more, and I had to struggle because of that. So, and I did I worked very hard, and these were day jobs, and these were not even acting jobs. So, I'm not, and it's, it's hard to say that because it's, it's a hard thing to admit, but, I've had to struggle, and home insecurity has been a big thing, when I was, particularly for a few years after my dad died. So yes.
Absolutely. So Andrew says the closing of place of worship should have never happened. I agree too. It's the same as culture, right? It's the same concept, right? People often go to their place of worship as a way of having connection with their community.
Spirit. We need our spirit. Like the spiritual side of us is such a strong side of our health and well-being. And when you lose that side, you can really suffer. And I'm sorry that people's houses of worship are closed. I mean, if your gym is open, they should have your synagogue, church, or wherever, your mosque, whatever you worship should be opened. Yes, absolutely. I agree.
So Paul says, I'm still scared of the Soviets from high school. You know what? It's funny. Yes. But you've just made a valid point though here, Paula. You have a lot of people who are young. They're 20 years old, 25 years old, 18. They don't know what Soviets are. They didn't grow up in that era. They have no idea what Soviets are. That's like a thing they read in some book when they were in high school or something. It's yes, I think it's true. It's what makes a lot of the youth not so worried about socialism or communism, because to them, for me, socialism is still Brezhnev and Khrushchev, right? I'm still worried about those guys. And for them, yes, for them it's cool.
I think Uncle Bernie and AOC. I hope the Russians love their children too.
That was a Sting song.
I love Sting. I wish I could see him in concert.
There we go. Absolutely. So yeah, I think that's true. Yes. So
and I think about homelessness, like I think that I think the shelter system is terrible. I think we need to find long-term, we can't just put somebody in a shelter. I get maybe for one night, but we need to automatically sort of figure out how to create permanent homes for people. And there's so many ways to do it.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Yes. We have dropped the ball on that so many times.
For years.
Yes. Absolutely. 100%. So Paula asked, how would you fund the homeless shelters? Because Jimmy brings up, it's his number one issue, especially for vets.
Oh,
right. And yes.
We need to take care of our vets first and foremost. If there's a homeless vet, that should not be happening. We would fund it through the city budget somehow, but I would also permanent housing. We need to find a way to get permanent housing. I haven't gotten the whole policy, I'll be honest yet, but
I remember we talked a while ago about the idea of allowing, and right now you can't because of the Department of Building Regulations, you can't create tiny homes in New York City.
You can't.
Right. Yeah, you can't do it. And some of you many people don't know that, but tiny homes, for those people who don't know this, when people are homeless for a certain period of time, that kind of becomes their culture, their mindset. The same way a year of COVID is becoming our culture and our mindset. If you're homeless for over a year, depending on the person, could be as low as a year, could be as long as 3 years, but depending on the individual, that kind of becomes their mindset. So even if you were to give them a 3-bedroom house or apartment, they would kind of all scrunch up into 1 bedroom anyway, because that's their world. That's what thing. Yes.
I think it's not like there's no money and no homes, and where are we going to put these people? I don't think that's not the issue 100%. It's that they don't even know, like for instance, SNAP, people can get SNAP, right? Every homeless person should not be starving. They can get SNAP of some sort, right? Or cash assistance. They're not going to get the programs that are allocated both federally and state and city. They're just not going to get their program. So we need an outreach program to get these people off the streets, get them the programs that they need. It's not just funding. Maybe the funding is getting there. Maybe
it's also the system,
outreach. Right? It's
because
the system.
You can't, sadly, in most parts of New York City, you can't get what support we have for them unless you have an address. So if you had tiny houses, they would have addresses and therefore be able to get other things to get them back up. And how can you ever have a resume if you don't have a house? How can you take a shower and clean yourself to go for a job if you don't have a house that has running water?
Right. And that's why there should be the temporary places to settle in. Like they have these kinds of it's just that people aren't they're too ill to take advantage of them. I know people who have been homeless and had to go to shelters, comedian friends of mine over the years, but they had the wherewithal to know how to, they got they got it into the system. They got what they needed. Now they're working and they're fine. Maybe before COVID, but they got their lives together. Usually homelessness should be temporary. It shouldn't be a lifelong thing.
Yes.
A year, maybe. That's the issue. We need to stop this long-term homelessness. People go through hard times, but that's the issue, is to get out of the long-term loops.
You just made a big point on homelessness that people don't understand, right? There is a part of our homelessness population that has been homeless for many, many, many years, and they're destitute and they can't. But there's a bunch of working poor who are homeless too.
Oh, a lot. I know these people personally.
Yeah.
And
and people don't see that.
And I think everyone sees the guy on the train that smells, that's all messed up and passing out and peeing on him. Yeah, we see that person, which might either be mentally ill or have a bad drug addiction.
Yes, difference between generational and short-term poverty.
Absolutely,
that too.
Great point. Yeah, so we
100%.
Want to get people out of the generational poverty. That's the main issue. The systemic generational poverty is what we need to end and repair. That needs to be repaired.
So, Stacey, let me ask you, is there anything you want to bring up or chat about before we wrap this up? You've been so good. You give me a full hour and you're out there campaigning. I appreciate it.
I love this. I love talking to you, Larry. It's just so much fun. I just want New Yorkers to, I love when people they have so many great ideas, and I love hearing from people. So that's one thing. I like the communication of talking back and forth, and generational poverty, versus temporary poverty, and that's something really important that we really do want to end. But I just don't want to say I want to end it. I want to end it. Like that's one thing. I mean, I know every politician says that, but I want to make a promise not to make false promises.
There we go. A promise to not make false promises. How can I end it, or anything cooler than that? Guys, thank you so much. Yes, guys, thank you so much for watching. Say again, sorry.
And I want everyone to have fun.
Yes. Also, our mental health definitely matters. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Guys, thank you so much for watching this evening. I appreciate it. Stacey, thank you so much for showing up. I appreciate it. Guys, I will see you all very soon. Have a great weekend. I will see you all.